Yo, what's up guys, this is Happy No with another Guild Wars 2 PvP video, and on this video I'm gonna show you the Power Revenant guide with double sword and sword shield. So, as always, I will be beginning the game here with the ranked arena game, and then I will just swap from this to the explanation of the build and everything else. So at the beginning I'm just chilling here because maybe the enemy players are stealthed up here and I don't want to get into a trap. Yes, you can ping at me. I know what I'm doing. I do this, trying to give myself some protection if I get backstabbed or anything like that. And now maybe the mesmer wasn't seeing me here. I just sneaky decap the point, and if the mesmer comes back I just leave the point here fast. So that was also good, and now my allies, my Deadeye seems to be a really strong player, already dead. Okay, so now I just have the Deadeye here. He should be porting back.
The keep's been lost.
Okay, the Deadeye is here. I'm not able to chase him how I wanted because I'm not playing with double sword, but I'm still gonna catch him if he's not watching carefully. Okay, the number one port was working, and now we just can apply multiple damages and he's done. So it was not so hard to kill this Deadeye because he seems not to be like the best gamer here. Laying down this to finish off this guy, because my team seems to be also pretty slow with that. And now we just gonna do this, immediately attack this guy here with some auto attacks with impossible odds, finishing this guy fast off. That's what you can do as a Revenant player. And now it is important for me to get fast on the midpoint and kill the enemy firebrand. And how to kill the enemy firebrand? Basically it's pretty easy, just doing this first, removing here the boons from those people, getting some damage going on, killing this guy fast here, not killing but cleaving a little bit. And where is the Reaper now? The Reaper seems to be surviving this, but not so long. I'm going for this one, and now my goal will be to get far.
The keep is yours.
Someone needs to watch here if someone crosses the point, but I want to get also a fast kill, but maybe it seems that it is my work here to do. Watch when people crossing. You can see this already, the Guardian is crossing here, and the Daredevil could also be crossing immediately. Now I wish that my ally here targeted me someone so I can just port into him. Okay, now we can just try and deal some damage here. It looks like it's a burn Guardian, and we just down him here. Okay, I can just use now my healing skill. I need to dodge a little bit because of the thief, using my lead skill. I need to port, but I'm not able to because too many people are chasing me here. I might die here. Yes. I just survived that. Awesome. Okay. So next we have this guy. I'm not so sure if I want to attack him. I need to run away now. He noticed me. He was able to get a damage onto me. Let's see if I'm able to get into it to push here. CCing this guy, not able to CC. Sword 3 onto this guy. Blocking now so he can get his healing up. But he seems to have enough healing from the rest of my team. I remove his boons and then just cleave him immediately. This is what makes also the Power Revenant, by the way, so strong, because now, quite a while ago now, you can also remove boons from enemy players, allowing you to shred people even harder and faster, therefore. The enemy dude is there. Hello. What is my ally here doing?
I demand that you
I wanted to port onto him, but no need for.
Spaniards return.
Let's see.
The
What's the
chieftain
thief
has
doing?
returned.
The thief just... Here we go, let's revive this guy first.
They took the hand.
My Deadeye is dead again. And while reviving, I activate my Faces of Dark... No, Faces of Chaos. Something like that. To revive my ally thief with
The keep is yours.
stability applied. Stability protection, man. My English is gone. So now before I go for the beast, I just check here if the enemies are crossing. This game seems to be a really easy game, but still, who knows, maybe they will be able to turn. Doing this, dodging his stun, going for the sword 3. So seeing this guy, applying this damage here, quickness attacking with impossible odds, getting a fast kill. I could have done it even faster, but just so I can tell what I'm doing. And here we go now against Mirage. Let's see what I can get here. With what is he playing? Okay, I revealed him. So his reveal will not be working. He will be attacking me here somewhere. Yes, I just auto attack. And when I have enough stacks of freaking
I demand that you
his condition dealing damages, sword 3 onto him, and he should be dying here.
you seize the hand.
Not a way to get away from my damage. And I'm dead here as well, as it looks like. Can I survive this? Whew, I had my elite skill up. Whew, I would have survived this. So you saw a little bit, it is dangerous and really tricky to fight Mirage players. But what you can do is just keep on attacking. Don't let the clones appear. And just try to destroy the clones, and meanwhile you will also hit the enemy Mirage player. But of course, if it is a good Mirage player and he starts the game with a nice burst onto you with tons of conditions, you will have no chance to do anything onto that. So I will show you now the kind of guide of the Power Revenant, and you saw a little bit what you can do as a Revenant player. You have there the mobility, and what have I got here? Revives, defense and kills. Basically you should aim for the kills, 8-0, but the enemy team was not so strong, therefore I don't really call this a great game, even though you see I'm on Platinum 2 right now. I thought I was lower. I was Platinum 1, okay. So this is a typically Platinum game. You either have a good team or the bad team, I don't know. And this is what a game looks like. I know I'm not such a big fan of those games because it was like too easy, but still I was able to give you examples how to use the F2 from the Revenant, and how to do some combos, how to burst enemies, and how to chase a little bit. I was not really able and focusing the thief so much because my main goal with Sword and Shield is not really to focus the enemy players because I'm too slow, as you saw it. Good thief players could have stealthed a long time ago and then just hide from me, but this Daredevil was not the highest ranked player. I don't want to laugh at him, by the way, just telling you what was wrong on him. And now let's talk about the Power Revenant, of course. I will split the video a little bit, but I will try to talk as fast as possible because it takes like hours and days to explain everything in detail, so I'm just gonna quickly go ahead for it. Quickly the skins, because most of you will ask me. Bloodstone Visage, Night Fury skin, Berserker's Pit Fighter chest guard, Dragon Hunter Gauntlet, and Elonian Tassets with Elonian Graves, Holosmith Sword with Fractal Shield, and Chaos Staff. No backpack at all. The dice are Celestial White and Shadow Abyss, which match really nice. And this character is a female human. That's basically it. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna show you the combos with the double sword, as well as this build here. Basically, I'm gonna explain you this build and then with double sword. So let's go ahead. The sigils, Sigil of Opportunity and Sigil of Exploitation. those two are there to have an additional damage bonus of 10% to enemies under 50% HP who are inflicted with movement impaired conditions like cripple, chill, slow, or immobilize. So there are 4 of them. So if an enemy has one of those, you will have 10% damage bonus to enemies under 50%. That's where your damage output will also come a little bit. Then on the staff, I'm using Sigil of Agility and Sigil of Energy to have additional quickness on my staff, and therefore to be able to burst down enemy players more frequent and remove more stability with that. I will talk about that in the build later. Then Rune of Leadership for max boon duration, and of course here for the last skill or effect of this rune, better said, convert up to 3 conditions from your nearby allies into boons when you use your elite skill. And we will have 2 elite skills, by the way. So when I activate my elite skill, I will convert 3 conditions into boons for me and nearby allies in a radius of 240 or something like that. Or 450, I'm not so sure. The radius is not so high, but it will work. So what does this do is just it's there against Condi comps, and you know you have quite a bit of Condi players always on most of the games, and it's just a lifesaver for the Revenant, because Revenant has normally only on staff for condition cleanse, and otherwise nowhere if you don't change your build a little bit to be anti-condition quite a bit more. So Rune of Leadership is the must thing to use, and then Berserker Amulet, which I only recommend for more experienced players. It is for the max damage output. Otherwise, for beginners, I recommend the Marauder Amulet to try out, because you will have here a 7k HP boost, and yeah, therefore survive a little bit longer with it instead of with the Berserker one. Berserker for advanced players, and because this build is only DPS based. The Sigil of Energy for some extra dodges, because who doesn't need extra dodges? It's always good to have. And now let's talk about the weapons before I show you the build. I'm using Sword and Shield, and on the Sword and Shield we have here first of all the auto attack, which is the most used one, because the auto attack will just deal nice damage, and you can see it here, also apply vulnerability now and then. And what does vulnerability do? It just weakens enemies in a certain way. It just makes you deal more damage to enemy players, for the people who don't know it. And of course it is a condition, so your allies will also have an additional damage bonus to that target with the vulnerability, and for each stack you will deal 1% more damage or 1% more condition damage for your Condi players. So you can see it here. It will be easily possible to hold like at least 5 stacks of vulnerability, and maximum stacks will be always 10 to 15 if you played quite a bit aggressive this build. So you and nearby allies will have at least a 5 to 15% damage bonus to your target, which is for the beginning really strong. Then the second attack is Precision Strike, which is a double hitting attack, which also chases the enemies. If you are close to an enemy, it will just hit your target, and as you can see it here, it can hit multiple targets. It can hit up to 3 players, and it should normally do only 2 attacks, but it does 3, which means you can see it here 1, 2. Normally it should be like this. This attack can be used while chasing down enemy players. It is pretty strong because you can also just use it behind you, or you don't even have to have a target, you can just throw it out. The attack will automatically hit a target which is visible, so to stealth players it will not work. It used to work once, but not nowadays. I think this is also a good decision, because it was really painful to play Thief back then. And you can see this, the range is not so high of this skill, so you have to be a little bit closer to the enemy players. And of course it applies chill, which is pretty annoying. It will decrease your movement speed by 66, and of course the skill recharge rate by 66 for 3 seconds if you hit a target twice with it. You can see it here by 66, and it will also hit an additional target for whatever reason. Normally it should just hit like this, 1, 2, and this guy once, so it can hit I don't know how many players. Let's just test it here on the golems. I just know that it will hit multiple players. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 3 players got hit, each with 1 attack, I guess, something like that. Yeah, this is precision strike for additional damage, or when entering combat like this, you can just go ahead, precision strike, dodge a little bit, and then go ahead and attack with your auto attacks. Easy as that. Then the third attack is Unrelenting Assault, which is an attack that also makes you avoid incoming damage. This skill is most likely used to chase down low HP targets and to, yeah, just hunt down enemy players, deal a lot of damage, and meanwhile you are evading all incoming attacks, which is pretty nice and awesome skill to use. It can be used to attack enemy players, or again, while you are just running away and someone is chasing you, you can just throw your sword 3, and as you can see it here, I was walking away from my target, but with my sword 3 I was able to hit him. Then let's go with the shield. Shield has here Envoy of Exuberance. I don't know if I said it wrong. Wrong. Exuberance. This skill here throws your shield away. Like throwing it away, you will still have your shield 5 ability available, but it just throws your shield, and in this direction where you throw it, you will apply some healing and protection to nearby allies. It should be like this. The protection duration will be almost 3 seconds, and now with the build, in combination with the build, of course, it will remove 1 condition, and it is really strong because it removes the now additionally 2 conditions from you instead of only the 2 with the staff. That's why I used to play this build. And of course the extra healing and the extra protection is nice to have. Then we go with the last one, Crystal Hibernation, which is a shield block like the warrior has, but you can just move while doing that. It will also just heal you for 1 to 2k HP, I would say, something like that, and it will also remove an additional condition, and of course block incoming damage for 3 seconds, which is really nice. But keep in mind, unblockable attacks can still hit you, and yeah, it can be really painful while you can't move and using this skill. Then for the really new players who don't know what Revenant is, you have here, which is also unique by the way, 2 stances that you have to use when playing Revenant. You will have to choose between 2, and there are like 5 different ones and a 6th one depending on which expansion you are currently playing. So you can see it here, you can just do this, click here and change skills, and you can just choose between those 5 legendary stances. And for the Power Revenant, we are using here Dragon stance and the Assassin stance, the basic meta ones, which will always stay like this for DPS and for max survivability. So to explain it here, the build, how it works, we have here on the Dragon stance facets, which have to be activated twice to be able to be used like this. It's like you are activating a signet here, and the second activation will trigger the skill. So you can see this here, it's called upkeep skills, and these skills are now active, but only in a passive way, and the passive way is by applying you boons. So the first facet is your healing skill, Facet of Light, which by the way can't be swapped, it's only this one. Facet of Light will passively, if you activate it once, grant you regeneration and nearby allies too. And actively, when you activate it, you will have here the healing skill for 30 seconds cooldown, Infuse Light, which will heal you almost 2k, and then absorb all incoming damage, including condition and normal DPS damage, for 3 seconds. And you can see it here, Infuse Light. During those 3 seconds, you will get healed for the amount of damage that you normally would receive. This is like the lifesaver skill and is used most likely when you are really low HP and until the last seconds. It is really hard to sometimes activate it with good timing, because enemy players can just stop attacking you and the skill will be useless. So try to keep for the last hit and then just get healed up with it. Then the next is Facet of Darkness, your first stun breaker here, and like the strongest skill to use in this game. Why is it in this game for the Power Revenant? Because it will have multiple effects. Number 1 is applying you Fury and nearby allies as well. All your skills here share the boons for your allies too. You can see it here. When I run to my ally here, I will affect him with my boons that I'm granted for myself too, which is really nice. So the Face of Darkness has multiple things how to use it. Number one is just to blind enemy players and to reveal them. How to do that? You just are near an enemy or attacking someone and then just boom, activate it, blind, apply 15 stacks of vulnerability or 10. It is like 10. I'm like sure, but I'm not so sure. I want to see it first. It will apply vulnerability, blind the target, and reveal it. So it does so many things. It should be 10 stacks, right? Yes. It will blind, reveal for 5 seconds, and apply vulnerability. So what you can do with this skill, a lot of stuff. Number one is to just blind single bursts, blind CC, or blind elite skills, which is always nice to do. And of course you can see it here. The Gaze of Darkness, when you activate Face of Darkness, it is also a stun break, so it is your lifesaver utility skill, the first one to use. Mainly it is used like this to keep it up for your team, for your allies, to grant them a little bit of fury, and of course for yourself, and then afterwards to activate it to blind enemy players while they will not be able to interrupt you. The most common combo is activating Sword 3, and you know Sword 3 has some slow activation time, and while you are activating it, enemy players can just easily interrupt you. You can see this here. I blind him and he will not be able to interrupt my Sword 3 therefore. So it's also important to know you can use Face of Darkness actively and passively. Passively will be just to grant your allies fury and as a stun break, and actively to blind enemy players, for example, as I said, to not block your Sword 3, to interrupt you while using Sword 3. Then the next is Face of Elements. The passive effect of this is granting swiftness to 5 nearby allies, and the active effect is just their elemental blast to AoE damage on a certain location, which is, for example, here are multiple players. I just activate it here and apply AoE damage. And of course you can see it here, weaken, chill, and burn enemy players. This skill is basically thrown out as fast and as much as possible because it is a nice damage dealing ability, which can be triggered like this. When you are running away, you want to interrupt enemy players, you can just chill them and run away. This is the passive way. Or while cleaving, or while you want to kill someone, you just throw it into the battle. Then the next one is Burst of Strength, granting you and nearby allies power, might. And might is of course boosting your damage level and of course your condition damage as well. So what does the passive effect do? It deals twice the damage to multiple enemies as well. And just to give you here an example, I can throw it out here. Boom, boom, hitting up to 5 targets with this. And it will give me for 4 seconds or something an additional damage boost of 15% if I hit a target, which means the skill is relying you to land your attacks. But the good thing here is that if you miss an enemy, you can just turn around to another enemy and just hit that guy. It says 5 seconds, but I have this feeling that it is like 4 seconds. For example, I have here an enemy, but he just blocking. I just turn around to this guy and I get my damage boost here. Because I just was able to turn around while activating the skill. Okay, I just quickly finish off here the NPC and then explain you the last, the elite skill of the Dragon Stance. So, swapping again my Dragon Stance here, and the last one is the elite skill. You have 1 healing skill, 3 utility skills, by the way, for the people who don't know it. And the Face of Chaos, the elite skill. The elite skill is the strongest one, but as you already should have recognized here, you have some kind of life force like the Reaper has, but you have like a life force for your stances. Dragon Stance has a separate one and the Assassin Stance separate one. At the beginning of combats, you will always start with 50%, and when you swap stances, you will also start with 50% life force. So the elite skill is Face of Chaos, which will passively, once triggered, apply protection to you and nearby allies, and actively it will just stun multiple players, which I will show here on the golems. And the good thing here is that when you activate it, you can also interrupt it mid animation to to troll enemy players, so they will probably throw out and dodge multiple times to not get caught by the stun, and you will have your skill up again, and you can just reuse it, and you can do that as many times as you want. But you have to keep in mind that this skill will drain your stance, energy, life force, I don't know how to say it, quite a bit once you start activating skills. For example, here you can see this, I activated my sword 2 attack, and my energy is not going up again because I have my elite skill up. This is the downside of this. So it is important to use your elite skill as fast as possible, not just to hold it here or swap your stance, otherwise it will be really not beneficial for you, because you can see it here. When I throw out my skills here multiple times, I'm not able to use, for example here, sword 3 needs more energy to be used. I'm not able to use this skill because the elite skill is just blocking my energy level. So activating this skill, boom, just does this, grants you super speed and can CC multiple players. This skill can also be activated in this direction, and then you can just turn around and stun enemies behind you, which you might have seen on some of my other videos. And that's basically it about the skills. And then we have here a F2, which is also, I would have said almost unique to Revenant, but other professions have also F2 abilities, F3. So the F2 is another facet on both stances, and on the dragon stance it will just increase your boon duration for 3 seconds, which means when I apply a boon for me or my nearby allies, I will have it a little bit longer than normal here. Duration increased by 3 seconds. I don't know if it is like really 3 seconds longer boon duration or not, but, and you can see it here, once you activate this, it will also drain your life force energy level quite a bit. It will not drain if you have only 2 upkeep skills, but it will also just block. Or was it 1? It seems to be 1. With 1 it will not drain anything, but just, yeah, it will not be so effective if you have only 1. Most likely I use it at the beginning of the fight, because I will grant here multiple boons to my allies, and then when I reactivate it, it will grant all the boons that I'm currently applying an additional 2-3 seconds. I will say 3 seconds if I reactivate it. That should be it. So then we have the second weapon set, which is the staff, and the staff is an interesting weapon choice because it is there most likely used to CC enemy players and for your survivability, but it has of course more than just that to offer. As you already know from the beginning, I use Sigil of Agility, and in combination with our build I will be granted an additional 4 seconds quickness, and with this sigil here I will have 6 seconds instead of the only 4 seconds of quickness, which means when I swap to my staff while I'm in combat, I will have a 6 seconds quickness, and for 6 seconds I will be able to remove stability from enemy players. That's just something to mention. Now, staff auto attack is a chain ability, which the first 2 attacks will only deal damage, and the third attack will hit like multiple times with 2 additional spirits or orbs. It says something like this. I need to read it fast. Orbs, I guess it should be orbs. It has like an additional small hitting attack, which will deal a little bit of damage and heal you up. So you just have multiple good things to do when you have here more quickness. By auto attacking the enemy player, you have more damage output and a little bit of healing, and you can see it here, combo finisher while, which means when you have when you are standing in a fire field, you will apply additionally burning and stuff like that. Then the second attack is a skill which is really interesting to use, which means you can either just throw it out like this to weaken enemy players, which is not so useful. Weakness is a strong condition, but not so useful because it just drains your energy level, and meanwhile you can attack the enemy player twice. But what it's strong, when you attack a player which is already using a skill, for example here, you can just with an additional usage of the skill stun the enemy player with it. Of course only if he has no stability, keep that in mind. This skill is, yeah, how to say it, really hard to be used, because you really have to to catch the enemy player when he's activating a skill, otherwise it will not work. Here he's using a skill, boom. I can do this, and you can see this here. While I auto attack, I'm getting here some additional healing. Oh my god, the elemental is just killing me. I could die here. Yeah, that's just basically it. So the second attack to interrupt enemy players, but it requires some nice timing to reuse it again. And most likely we are using here Warding Rift, which is a AoE damage dealing attack, most likely only to block incoming damage for 2 seconds. And this can be used while walking, so it is good when you are getting chased. You can just run around and throw out your staff 3. Most likely only used to block damage, elite skills, and of course to blind enemy players when they use elite skills. Pretty strong and a nice skill for your survivability, and that's the main thing to use, survivability. Or when you are stomping someone and he's about to CC you, you can just throw it out, blind the downed, and of course block all the incoming other damage and be safe due to that. Then renewing wave, staff 4, gives you some nice little healing, and the main goal from this is just to cleanse 2 conditions from yourself and nearby allies as well, by the way. And it is a blast finisher, which means if an ally from you applies a water field like the Holo Druids or a Firebrand, you can just throw out this skill and have a nice area water healing, which heals you an additional time with it. Then Surge of the Mist, the main combo damage dealing attack, which also is a block. It applies 5 times damage to enemy players. It can hit multiple targets, and it makes you invulnerable for incoming damage for 1 second. To show it to you here, I'm gonna do it on the golems. They are all champions. Okay, so I can CC them. I can CC this guy, therefore I'm like sure. So staff 5 is most commonly used like this, boom, and you can see it here. You will hit multiple times. The damage got nerfed by quite a bit. It used to deal nice damage, but it just got nerfed down to the ground. So it is not like your main damage source, but it is nice to interrupt enemy players immediately and multiple times. So they can stun break out of this, but they will be still 1 more time CC'd if they stun break too early. Because you can see this here, you will CC the enemy player on quite a distance here, and when he's using stun break before the Surge of the Mist, and he will get CC'd 1 more time. And staff 3 is like this, boom, 1, 2, 3 players got blinded. So it's just not just block and blind multiple enemy players. Now we have here also now the legendary assassin stance. This stance is used for your mobility basically and for your own survivability, and of course actively used to hunt down enemy players and deal a lot of damage. The healing skill enhanced daggers, and you can see it here, the Revenant has 2 healing skills, but this enhanced daggers is of course not just as strong as the one on the dragon stance. Enhanced daggers activates like 6 daggers, which will stay with you for 15 seconds, and they will just additionally hit multiple times the target, and while hitting that target they will steal HP from that, from the dealing damage, and of course from the enemy it will steal twice HP. You can see it here, siphon damage 920 and siphon healing, you will heal while dealing damage, something like that. And the first time when you activate this skill it will also heal you for 1500. Then reposting shadows, your main survivability skill on the assassin stance. It is like a dodge roll backwards, which applies fury to you, removes conditions like immobilize, cripple or chill. If you have all 3 of them, all 3 will be removed. And meanwhile you will dodge attacks, and it is a stun break, and you will get endurance back, which you can see it here. After the void you will have your endurance back here, and you can re-dodge 1 more time. Really nice to have. And in combination with the staff you can have the double dodges because of the sigil of energy. You can just use this and then you will have 1 dodge, the sigil of energy here proccing. This skill can be used also while just in combat, or when you want to retreat from combat. You can just dodge here, double dodge, and then just use it again to gain some movement speed. It's really strong skill and especially good used against necros and scourges because you can avoid the marks and of course remove the chill because it's really annoying. Then phase traversal is a skill that ports you to an enemy player, grants you quickness, and your first 2 attacks will be unblockable with a 10% damage boost. This is especially used to hunt down low HP targets. For example, this guy, I want to immediately kill him, but I'm like too far away and I'm too slow to chase him. And so I just activate it, boom, and I'm getting ported, and then I have my quickness and can immediately sword 2, sword 3 combo and finish off the target. Phase traversal is there to, either actively chase down a low HP target, or while I'm running away, for example, this mesmer is chasing me, or no, let's say this golem is chasing me, and I need to get away from the golem. I just have here a target. Let's check this guy out. No, the mesmer is dead. Let's say the mesmer here is chasing me, but I have also an enemy player here backwards, and I can just, while he's chasing me, boom, port, and run away from this guy. The port now is bugging because of the how the wall here is made really badly. But basically this guy is chasing me now, the target golem. I'm attacking him and now I need to get away. Boom, I can just port, and normally I will be ported here. I can show you here on the golem the best. The mesmer is chasing me, I just activate it here and you can see it here. I'm down the stairs immediately. Actively to chase and low HP targets and to hunt them down, and passively to just retreat from combat, but therefore you have to have a target near your allies players. Ally players can just target someone for you, and then while you are fighting here you can just press T, you have this guy, and then boom, port to this guy and run away from those people. Pretty easy as that. Then impossible odds. This is like, I don't know which skill it was, but it just the elite skill of the ranger. It just adds an additional attack for each successful landing attack what you do. And here the downside is that it has like strike delay of 1/4 second, which means you can't really hit like in a second twice and have twice an extra damage, but you have like always to wait 1 second until you get the second damage output here. How to show it to you here? When I auto attack here, I have my normal damage here, 1600, 700, and some lower damages because of the siphon life of the build. And now when I activate impossible odds, you will see it here. I will have additional 2k attacks here, and they will just stack here. It just adds additional attacks to your basic attacks. And while you have this skill activated, it will drain a lot your life force, energy force, so you should not just activate it how you want it because you think you want to do more damage. You have to activate it wisely. Especially good used when cleaving or for low HP targets, because once your energy is drawn to 0, you will not be able to use any kind of skills and you have to swap your stance again. Keep that in mind. So activating this, for example, with sword 2 applies like 3 times damage. As I said, normally it would be like you hit twice, you will have 4 times damage, but as I said, the delay will strike a little bit in and you will not be able to get that highest damage output that you think you are able to. Then to the elite skill, Jade Winds. It is a AoE CC which applies vulnerability for 6 1/4 seconds, 6 stacks, so a 6% damage bonus to the players. And it is important when you use this skill, so when you have used this skill, your allies should not CC the enemy players afterwards, because they will just remove the effect of this skill. It has a 3 seconds stun, so it is really strong and one of the strongest CCs in game. So for example, if you CC here with this attack, don't staff 5 an enemy player, only if he stun breaks out of this. And to give you here an example, I can activate it here on the golems, and of course you can see it here. I stop the animation and therefore stop my elite skill, and enemy players might have dodged meanwhile. So you can fake use your Jade Winds as well here, multiple times of course. So what does this skill do is just ding, boom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players are stunned, and of course the vulnerability here marks them. On ranked arena, of course, you will have only 5 enemy players, so you can't stun more than those 5. And here the good thing is the F2 ability has also an own additional bonus what it does, and here it does remove 3 boons from enemy players, which makes the Revenant like quite viable against tanky comps like Scrappers, Soul Beasts and Firebrands. I know most of those professions are still above the average Revenant player, but this skill here is unblockable and you can remove boons, 3 of them, from all enemy players nearby, which is in a radius of 600, almost like a capture point. So when you are in a team fight and you activate this True Nature, you will be able to remove multiple boons, as I did against the Firebrand on this video, and therefore just weaken more than one enemy pretty hard, because you can remove stability with your auto attacks on weapon swap, and then additionally 3 other boons, which means basically you can remove first on weapon swap stability, and if he reactivates stability you can just throw out True Nature and remove that one more time. So that's really strong, and you can see it here as well. It does also deal some damage, so up to 5 players got hit and all those 5 will get the boons removed if they have boons. And yeah, these are the skills a little bit explained and what you can do with them. Then let's go with the build, because the build explains additionally all the skills here, what they do. Devastation, Invocation and Herald, basically the main ones, and here I'm going to quickly explain you what they do, the abilities, your skills. Your first attack when entering combat applies vulnerability. This ability is refreshed when you use the lead skill, which means either Jade Winds or the Dragon Stance Chaos lead skill. This means just your first attack applies 5 stacks of vulnerability, as I showed on the golem here multiple times. And then we have here Vicious Lacerations. If you attack with your sword or if you critically hit the enemies, you can have 3 stacks of this Vicious Lacerations and have a damage bonus of 9%. This is applied by auto attacking or just critting with your attacks. Auto attacking with the sword, I have to mention that, because with the staff you have to crit to get the stacks, but basically you will have them up all the time. Targeted Destruction, deal increased damage to targets based on their vulnerability stacks, which means 0.5% extra damage for each stack of vulnerability to enemy players, which means if you stack those 10 stacks as I mentioned earlier, you will have an additional 5% damage bonus, half of that. Malicious Reprisal, it's basically the phase traversal without the port. It means if you are blocking or you get blocked, you will have 2 unblockable attacks and a 10% damage bonus to when this skill automatically triggers. It triggers every 20 seconds and it is really strong against Soul Beasts, because Soul Beasts not, but Spellbreakers, if they are using shield block, you can first auto attack and then you can go with Jade Winds or the Chaos Face of Chaos stun here to interrupt enemy players, because you are getting unblockable attacks and deal 10% more damage. And the elite skill here, Face of Chaos, deals heavy damage. It can hit up to 8k, and basically it will deal 4 to 5k damage, because you will most likely crit this attack. And so Spellbreakers who are blocking with their shield will be getting damaged with that and CC'd. Then let's go with the next one. We have here Focused Siphoning. You will just steal additionally life, HP regeneration, steal HP from enemy players with your damage, and for each damage you deal you will get healed, something like that. And when you strike foes that have vulnerability, siphon life from them. This is just, yeah, vulnerability. You will have always at least 1 stack of vulnerability on enemy players by auto attacking, so you will steal HP during most of the time. Then the main trait here is Brutality. Every 9 seconds, which means every weapon swap we do, we will grant here 4 seconds of quickness, and meanwhile remove stability from enemy players when we have this. Gain quickness when you swap weapons. While you have quickness, your strikes remove stability. And it removes like every second, so for 4 seconds you will have 4 times the chance to remove stability from enemy players. So they can, for example, activate stability, you remove it, they can reactivate it from a Firebrand, you can remove it after a second again, and just repeat that process. And Brutality is also really strong because of the quickness, and with quickness your combos like Sword 2 and Sword 3 are really deadly and deal a lot of damage. I will show you here on the NPCs. Then invocation, the thing that makes you also deal heavy damage. Evoker's Rage, every 10 seconds cooldown. When you swap your stances, you will have here from dragon to assassin and from assassin to dragon, you will have almost 7 seconds of fury granted to you and nearby allies. No, only for you. I wanted to say nearby allies too, but no, only for you. And this is also a good combo with the build here. Incensed Response. When you grant yourself fury, you also grant yourself might. So every time we swap these stances, we will grant ourselves additionally might. And of course here, when we activate here Gaze of Darkness, granting ourselves fury, we will additionally grant ourselves some more might stacks because of this build. Let's go ahead. Rising Tide. While your health is above the threshold, inflict increased damage to your enemies. While we have 16k plus HP, which is like not so much, it's like 2k more than our normal HP, max level HP, we will have a 7% damage bonus. This is only used because at the beginning of the combat you can deal heavy damage within the first 2 seconds. Then Ferocious Aggression, deal increased damage and condition damage to targets while you have Fury. Again, additionally a 7% damage bonus here. And then Intense Response, gain might when you grant yourself Fury. I already explained that. We grant ourselves Fury with Gaze of Darkness here, Face of Darkness better said, and then Evoker's Rage as well. So twice Fury and therefore multiple times might stacking. Evoking Legend will now break stuns. When we swap our stances, we have an additional stun break, which means we have one here, Face of Darkness, and then here Reposting Shadows, a second stun break, and then when we swap stances, a third one. So that's pretty nice. 3 stun breaks for the Revenant, more than enough to be really viable. Then Roiling Mist, the strongest trait line here. Critical hit chance has increased effectiveness when you are under the effects of Fury, which means Fury grants normally 20% extra critical hit chance, but with this trait on it will grant 40% and allowing us to have almost 90% critical hit chance here, which means basically you will crit from 10 attacks, 9 of them, in theory. Then Herald, the main trait here, where you need to have Heart of Thorns expansion to be able to play this. Here it shows only what the F2 abilities do, and I already explained them. Then we have here core value, the F2 abilities getting strengthened, because for example here the Assassin Stance F2 will only remove normally 2 boons, and now with this trait on it will remove 3. And the Dragon Stance F2 will, instead of giving us 3 seconds longer boon duration, an additional 2 seconds instead of those 3. That's what it does with this trait. Then Draconic Fortitude, gain a maximum 10 HP increased health, because normally we have as you can see it here a 16k HP, but because of this trait we will have a little bit more HP, which is also really necessary for the Revenant. Hardening Persistence for the shield players, gain damage reduction for each point of upkeep currently in use. Shield skills remove conditions. This means for each skill that we are keeping up here we will have here a damage reduction, exposed defense, but no, it should normally have like for each upkeep skill 1, but it somehow it's really weird. It just no, it's this one. I'm watching the wrong one. Hardening Persistence. So I'm having 2 up, I'm getting 3. I have 3 up and I'm getting a 5% damage reduction. For each stack of this we will have 1% damage reduction. Basically you can have maximum of 5. And it's really weird. I don't know how they just managed to use this. You can see it here now I have 2. Now if I activate my healing skill I have 2, and if I activate my elite skill I have, am I watching this here right? 7. Yes, 5. 5 with my healing skill, okay. Oh, it's based on the energy it decreases for each second. That's how it is. So this one should give me 2. 1, 2. Okay, that's nice. This is like the energy that it takes from you away for each time you keep this up. But if you have those skills up like this, it will not drain your life force at all. Only if you activate a 4th skill here, like your healing skill, it will start draining your life force. That's nice to know, by the way. Yeah, basically used because of the shield, so I have 2 additional Condi cleanses and some more healing due to that. And of course a little bit damage reduction is always nice. Then Reinforced Potency, gain concentration and inflict increased damage for each active boon you have. This means for each boon that we have, an additional 1% damage bonus and some longer boon duration of the concentration. Forceful Persistence deal increased damage with active upkeep skills, which means if I have at least one of those skills up, I will have a 13% damage bonus, and for each skill I'm having up, I have an additional 3% damage bonus. And so that's basically the build explained. So each time I get Fury, I will have additional might stacks. Each time I swap my stances and stun break. And what else do I need to explain? I don't know. That's just basically it. And now to the combos. At the beginning, before I start the fight, I always watch that I have my 3 facets here up to have my stealth Fury, Swiftness and Might, those 3 boons. Because before I start the combat, engage into a combat, I will have those skills up and have the upper hand from the beginning on. You can see this here, 2300, 2400 power and the 90% critical hit chance. So when I start the battle, I will always already be prepared to have more damage output than my enemy player. And I start basically with the facet of elements, then with facet of darkness or 3, and then facet of strength. But you can of course swap the skills how you want them. For example, here facet of strength, I want it to be here. I can just replace them, but I use them like this, how I have them here. So at the beginning, for example, I want to kill the beast. I can start with the facet of darkness because it is just a skill that can be wasted as fast and as many times as possible, because it does not benefit you in combat at all. So I do this and then sword 2 for example, and now I just activate my 3 attacks. Sword 3, I blinded him so he can't see me, and now I can just auto attack here, and with impossible odds I'm able to finish off really fast. So one of your strengths is of course when you have to play on the maps with the beasts, you can kill them immediately. And to show you here again, on Svanir, the same thing here too. You have to watch, for example, the stun first, and then you can either go with sword 2, dodge the stun, do this, facet of strength, and then just do this, impossible odds, auto attacking here, and then maybe staff 5 as well to avoid any kinds of CC to you. Pretty easy to kill enemy players. And now, when you are in combat, for example, this guy is my enemy, I start the battle basically with the facet of elements to make the enemy player dodge. This is now an NPC, but still activating this, he will first off dodge, and then when I enter a little bit closer, I go with sword 2 in, because sword 2 they will most likely also dodge, and then you can freely go with sword 3 and get your max damage output up. And what's also important is then to just watch what the enemy player is doing. You wasted that, and then you have here your stun break. You just stun break out of the stun, go with a sword 3, try to land your facet of strength here, and then either go with a fast CC or just wait with it. And then after you dodged a few times, you can just swap to your staff, remove stability and CC the enemy players, try to interrupt any kind of healing skills. And the combos are like, how to explain you the combos? The combos are like typically always the same. Go in with a sword and use your staff to keep yourself alive a little bit and for some CCs. So to give you an example here, maybe I will find someone to attack. This guy is attacking, this guy is a scrapper. Let's go with a scrapper because it is a good choice here. So I do this, and now most likely they will just dodge or block. He blocked, he dodged my sword 2, and now I can go with a sword 3. And now I can just blind him, so he will not be able to get anything going on. I remove 3 of his boons, he dodged there, and now I have to block because he reactivated his stability for an additional time. And now I can just go with a sword 3 again. And now we can just repeat this process here. I can see him here, don't letting him get away with that. Blinding him. He has no stability, so I can... Oh my goodness, he just immediately got away with it. I need my block here. Okay. He did a great job there with the CC. I can go with my staff now. And now I activate the healing skill here. Do this. And you can see this here, I was almost able to get him there, but it was also a little bit risky because he dealt a lot of damage to me with that. I can see him, and now I have to run away, but I'm afraid that I get killed from the other players here. So basically you saw the combos. Scrappers should be really shaky, but therefore you have to land a nice CC and try to interrupt their healing skill to get things going on. But you saw, I damaged him, I made him dodge, and after the dodges I used my sword 3 for example, because he will not be able to avoid the damage therefore, and just repeat that process over and over again. Try to make the enemy players dodge with Phase of Elements and with the precision strike, and then just go ahead with the assassin stance, impossible odds, deal more damage, and repeat that process. Remove conditions, port into the enemy player, and then just try to keep your distance, use your skill to run away, and then just repeat this process. Just a second. Okay. I just had to answer my phone for a second. What was I explaining? Yeah. Once you are in a dangerous situation, for example like this, my phone is again vibrating for no reason. Once you are in a difficult situation, let's see, I want to make this guy attacking me, he dodged, and now you can see it here. He will maybe pull me now. He's not pulling me for whatever reason. Once you are in a difficult situation, what you can just do is here stun break and then just use your staff, get away with it, reposting shadows, and that's basically how you have to run away, and then just hide somewhere until your skills recharge. Your main goal when you are low is to get your infused light up again, and then you just reuse infused light and you will be safe. So you have quite a bit of tools to work with for your survivability, and therefore you just have now to watch my videos because I explained you most of the things that you can do. And yeah, maybe the next thing is just sword 3 for survivability, and then you can just, while running away, throw your shield 4, block here with the shield, and then immediately dodge before the cooldown ends, swap your stance, go with staff 3, staff 5, a dodge, and then just do this, impossible odds a little bit, dodge one more time, and then just repeat this process. And you can see this here while you just run away from enemy players. My phone is ringing so much, you can just, yeah, do a lot of work while just running away and use your skill properly. Oh my god, my phone is not stopping. Okay guys, so I will end this video now. I hope you enjoyed this Power Revenant guide. Oh my goodness, wait, I will not end this video. The double sword type. The double sword type is the high risk type to play it. And for this one I recommend to either stick with brutality for the quickness, being able to burst down enemies even faster, or with swift termination to have an additional 20% damage boost. And I just gonna mute my phone for a second. So now it's done. Forceful persistence can be, you can stay with this, and what you can change is hardening persistence into which one, no one of them makes so much sense. When applying a boon to an ally, also apply might to nearby allies. Yeah, you can for example do this to have additional might stacks. And now with the double sword, what you can do is just this one here. Let's give me a target. Let's give me a target, someone who's not in combat and who's a DPS player. Let's go for this one here. doing this staff, my sword 4 just not working, and just comboing the enemy players like this. So double sword allows you to have more mobility, not that you have low mobility but more, and you have better chasing down potential to enemy players. For example, here Death Strike can be used with phase traversal to get this okay, this guy just locked out, to chase low HP targets here even faster. And now he's seeing me, I block that. Sword 3, here we go. You can also already just see here some combos that you can do here. Doing this, CCing this guy here. Now I need to get away because he caught me a little bit too early. This guy is so unfair, man. I need to catch him here. Oh, he just caught me when I was not prepared for it, so I'm gonna join him one more time here. Yeah, Sword 4 offers you less survivability, but therefore is much stronger, applying damage to enemy players, which I will show you here. He's not dodging that attack, which is really weird. CCing this guy. I'm not able to oh my god, he's just interrupting me so badly. He's killing me with his freaking conditions, man. But I'm like sure I will be able to kill this guy. What else do I wanted to say? It is better to play with shield because of the survivability, and now just watch it here. Just make him dodge. Here we go. I need to remove his boons first of all. Removing his boons, touching here, and now I can go ahead with a nice CC here, and he's done. You can see this. You can easily finish off low HP targets once you remove their stability with the assassin stance, but it takes like really a lot of time to practice the skill good, because it is like F2, and F2 is just something that most people don't ever use, and especially not when they have to use it fast. And you can see it here. For example, professions that have a lot of sustain, like weavers or scrappers, can easily outplay double sword revenants because they have massive healing and massive blocking your attacks. And your main goal is with the sword 2 to land double sword, better said, to land sword 4 with impossible odds, because with impossible odds it will have an additional damage bonus, because you will trigger just more times damage. And now you can see it here. I'm getting chased by this guy, and I want to leave this fight. I have this guy on my target. The worst explanation here. I had the elementalist on my target, and I could have easily used phase traversal to port away from that guy. That's just what I wanted to show you. And for example, I want to chase down this guy or the daredevil from the gameplay. I can just do this one more time. Phase traversal, sword 5. And you can see this, the distance I just traveled immediately. And then the strength here, shackling wave, will immobilize enemy players, apply vulnerability, and deal up to 5 times damage. And it is most likely used with impossible odds, but therefore you need quickness. And quickness you get it when you weapon swap. So you have to start the battle with a staff. When you go with double sword, you start the battle like this, and then you just do this one here. But you can see this shackling wave, it's really easy to be dodged. And yeah, what else can you do? Phase of darkness to blind down enemies. I forgot to mention that. Blinding him and then just stomping. Whew. That was basically it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And double sword is the more aggressive type, and I still recommend you to play with a shield for more survivability, for more sustain to condition players. And yeah, your main goal will be to burst down low HP targets or to just AoE damage cleave enemy players, removing stability, and then with the assassin stance here, F2, removing 3 additional boons from multiple enemy players on a capture point. Your elite skill should be used to either cleanse conditions or to just, yeah, immediately stun people if you have the opportunity. Otherwise, just fake it. As I just said, fake it. Oh, I was not able to press ESC in time. I hope you enjoyed this guide a little bit and you learned a little bit more about the Power Revenant and what you can do. You saw a little bit on the video, even though it was not the best game that I had or the best enemy players or the best team, but still you saw a little bit everything: chasing down enemy players, removing boons, survivability of the build, and so basically a little bit of everything. And you also saw what I did to this Weaver. He killed me most of the times because he was able to CC me properly and I'm not able to cleanse the burning and the bleeding. I died to that. But the third time I killed him with double sword immediately because he was not able to dodge shackling wave. And shackling wave is the main skill to use to burst down enemy players with double sword, but if this skill fails, you are really exposed and weak to enemy players, which will not happen with a shield. So now guys, that was Happy No with the Power Revenant PvP video and guide. Hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned a lot of things about it. And for any questions, feel free to ask me as always under this video or in-game. And of course now you will see 3 of my other videos which you can watch or not. And you can subscribe to my YouTube channel and as well follow me on Twitch for live commentary. That was Happy No the Power Revenant. Muhahaha. And I see you on my next videos. Have a good one guys. Bye bye all.